Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the types of Rankine cycle. There are different types of Rankine cycles. That means there are some versions. Versions means in the basic Rankine cycle also there are some deficiencies. So how to increase the efficiency by making some modifications or some changes in the Rankine cycle, that we'll be discussing today. So there are different types of Rankine cycle. One Rankine cycle is the reheat Rankine cycle. Reheat Rankine cycle means the steam will be reheated in between different stages. We'll discuss the basic purpose of reheat Rankine cycle is to decrease the moisture content at the end of expansion in the turbine. So every particular Rankine cycle is having a particular purpose. The basic purpose of this reheat Rankine cycle is to decrease the moisture content at the end of expansion and to increase the efficiency. And another one is supercritical Rankine cycle. In this Rankine cycle, all the heat is added in the above the critical point only. Above the critical point means critical point of water is 22.1 MPa and 374 degrees centigrade. So all the heat is added above the critical point so that the efficiency will be increased. We'll see how it will be working. And another one is regenerative Rankine cycle. Regenerative Rankine cycle means in this one, typically in a power plant, the efficiency of the Rankine cycle will be around 30 to 35%. But a lot of heat is getting wasted. Heat is getting wasted. So in order to utilize the heat properly, effectively, and increase the efficiency, this regenerative Rankine cycle has been evolved. So we'll see one by one. And modified Rankine cycle means the basic cycle is slightly changing. First we'll discuss the reheat Rankine cycle. In the reheat Rankine cycle, you can see this is the typical setup. This is the typical setup of the reheat Rankine cycle power plant. This is the boiler, and this is the high pressure turbine, and this is the low pressure turbine, and this is the condenser, and this is the feed water pump. Right? So basically the purpose is, if you consider the TS diagram of this reheat Rankine cycle, you can see here, this is the heat addition process 661. This is the heat addition process, and without reheating means what will be happening here? The steam will be directly expanding from one to this particular stage. This is the point. This is the point. If the entire steam is directly expanding from one to the condenser pressure, the boiler pressure to condenser pressure. But instead of if you expand like this, what is going to happen? This is the total moisture content that will be present in the steam. If the steam is directly expanded from this stage till the condenser pressure, this is going to be the moisture content in the steam. So very high moisture content, So in order to avoid this high moisture content and also to increase the mean temperature of heat addition, I will explain you what is the mean temperature of heat addition. It is going to decrease the entropy, and the useful work will be increased. So if the mean temperature of heat addition is high, the efficiency will be high. I will explain you in another presentation. So here what you have to understand is basically from 1 to 2, if the heat is expanded directly to the condenser pressure, the moisture content is going to be very high. So instead of doing that, we are reheating the steam. So here normally typically the here steam will be expanded in a high pressure turbine to some intermediate pressure and till the saturation point of the steam. So here you can see in the high pressure turbine, this is the high pressure turbine. In the high pressure turbine, the steam is expanded partially to some intermediate pressure. And the exit point, the exit stream at 2 will be typically dry saturated. Dry saturated. The steam at exit point 2 will be typically dry saturated. Sometimes it may be slightly higher than the dry saturated, and sometimes it may be slightly wet steam. But typically the steam that is coming out of high pressure turbine will be dry saturated steam. And from there, again, we are going to send the steam. You can see here that we are sending the steam to again boiler to reheat. The steam that is coming out of the high pressure turbine is again sent to the boiler and reheated till the inlet temperature of the high pressure turbine. So we have to again maintain, this is the another important point. This is the another important point. We have to maintain this same temperature, then only we will be getting the complete advantage. Otherwise, if you are reheating to a temperature less than the inlet temperature of high pressure turbine, then again we will not be getting the advantage of reheating. So again we cannot increase a very high temperature also. So we have to follow one inlet temperature, because you cannot vary the maximum temperature between the stages. Okay, so the high pressure turbine is exiting some steam. That steam is again resent to the boiler and reheated. This is the reheated. And then again it will be sent to a low pressure turbine. You can see the process 2 to 3 is reheating. The process 2 to 3 is reheating. And the reheating will be done till the temperature of the steam reaches the inlet temperature of the high pressure turbine. This temperature and this temperature both are same. And from there, again, the expansion will be taking place in a low pressure turbine. This is the low pressure turbine. LP turbine means low pressure turbine. And the steam will be expanded from 3 to 4 in a low pressure turbine. Now you can see the difference. If you directly expand from point 2 to the condenser pressure, the moisture content is very high. This is the moisture content. This is the moisture content. It is very high. But instead of expanding from point 2, you are reheating the steam to point 3 and then expanding it here. So the resultant is, because of that, the moisture content is only very small. Here the moisture content is only, this is the moisture content. So if you take this is the moisture content. This is the moisture content. So it will be very less when compared to the direct expansion only in the one stage turbine. Okay, so this is the main purpose of the reheat Rankine cycle. You can see here, if the steam is expanded in a single stage, the outcoming steam is very, very wet, right? So it will be very wet. So what will be happening if the steam is wet? The moisture particles will be colliding with the turbine blades and other parts of the turbine, and it will be damaging. So to keep the outcoming steam dry, the steam is expanded in multiple stages with the reheating in between the stages. So you have to understand here two things. In the reheating, normally it will be done in multiple stages, and there will be reheating in between the stages. So sometimes it will be done in 3 stages also. Okay, so you can increase the number of stages, but it will not be feasible to have so many stages, because the cost of equipment and all those things will be very high, which will not be justified. So therefore, typically in reheating cycles, 2 or 3 stages will be used. And depending on the pressure, operating pressures and temperature, it can go up to 4 stages, not more than 4. Okay, so typically 2 to 3. So you can see here it is done by expanding steam to an intermediate pressure. This is intermediate pressure. So some pressure in between. And then it is sent to the boiler to reheat the steam again. Okay, so some intermediate pressure. Some intermediate pressure means that the pressure corresponding to 0.2. Whatever pressure is corresponding to 0.2 is there, that is the intermediate pressure. The steam is getting expanded. And then it will be reheated from there. Until what time, what point? Till it is the temperature is reaching the inlet temperature of the first stage. So steam is reheated to the inlet temperature of the first stage, and the reheated steam is further expanded in a low pressure turbine. So this is the low pressure turbine. The steam is expanded in a low pressure turbine. 3 to 4 process is 3 to 4, and due to this sorry. Due to this reheating, the work output and efficiency increases. So this is the point you have to understand. Due to the reheating, the work output will be added. So what is the work output? How it is getting increased? Look here. If it is a single stage turbine, the work output will be from here to here. This is the work output. That means, let us say this is a point, some 4 dash or 2 dash, we can call it as 2 dash, whatever it is. Let us say this is point 2 dash. So if it is expanded from 1 to 2 dash, the WT is nothing but H1 minus H2 dash. So here this work done is H3 minus H4. Basically these two quantities are same. These two quantities are same. But here if you are expanding in 2 stages, so this is stage 1 work done and this is stage 2 work done, right? So here the total work done will be, if it expanded in multiple stages, WT is equal to WT1 plus WT2. What is WT1? WT1 is equal to H1 minus H2, and W T2 is H3 minus H4. So the total work is WT1 plus WT2. That means the work done by the high pressure turbine plus work done by the low pressure turbine. Right? So due to this reheating, the work output is getting increased. And if the work output is increasing, the efficiency increases. Right? It is. In this way, the efficiency will be increased. Okay, just we'll see a little that analysis, how to find out the efficiency in this case. It is very simple. See, in this one, basically your task is to find out your task is to find out the enthalpy at different points. You can see this diagram. This is the TS diagram and this is the HS diagram. Enthalpy entropy diagram, and this is nothing but Mollier diagram, Mollier chart, and this is a temperature entropy diagram. So this is 1 to 2 is first stage, and 2 to 3 is reheating, and 3 to 4 is second stage expansion, and 4 to 5 is condensation, and 5 to 6 is compression of the liquid, and 6 to 1 is addition of heat. So here the heat is also getting added. Here 2 times the heat is getting added. Here also the heat is getting added. Q in 1 and Q in 2. 2 times the heat is getting added. So here see the amount of heat added during the reheating. This is H3 minus H2. Okay. So the amount of heat is added in first stage. Let me clear all these things, and then I will write clearly. I will share another one. This is the Rankine cycle. This is the typical Rankine cycle with reheat. This is the typical Rankine cycle. So this is what are the points? Let us say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5, and 6. This is the reheat Rankine cycle. And here, what is the Q in 1? Q in 1 is between 1 and 6. So this is H1 minus H6. And what is Q in 2? This is reheating. So here also the heat is getting added. This is Q in 1 and this is Q in 2. And this is WT1 and this is WT2. Right? And this is the heat rejected Q out. And this is W pump. W pump. Okay, so what is the Q in 2? Q in 2 is H3 minus H2. And what is the Q out? This is H4 minus H5. So what is the efficiency? Efficiency of Rankine cycle. This is 1 minus Q out by Q in. So this is equal to 1 minus, what is Q out? H4 minus H5 divided by H1 minus H6 plus H1 minus H6 plus H3 minus H2. So this is the Rankine cycle efficiency. In terms of turbine work and other things you want to do, efficiency of Rankine cycle is W net by Q in. What is W net? W net is WT minus WP divided by Q in. What is WT? WT, there are two WTs here. This is WT1. WT is equal to WT1 plus WT2. What is WT1? H1 minus H2 plus WT2 is H3 minus H4. So that you are substituting here H1 minus H2 plus H3 minus H4 minus the pump work is H6 minus, sorry, H6 minus H5 divided by Q in, same quantity, H1 minus H6 plus H3 minus H2. Okay, so in most of the cases, this WP is very, very less than WT. The turbine work that is generated is very high when compared to the work pump work. So sometimes it will be neglected, sometimes it will be neglected. So therefore, you can write the Rankine efficiency is equal to simply this WT by Qin. So if you rearrange the terms, you can get like this. Okay, so we'll say like this: H1 minus H2 plus H3 minus H4 divided by H1 minus H6 plus H3 minus H2. So this is the efficiency. This is the efficiency. This is the efficiency of the Rankine cycle. So that is what given here. So the Q reheat, this is I told you H3 minus H2. Qin is equal to H1 minus H6 plus this is the first Q and this is the first Q and this is the second Q. This is the second Q. So H1 minus H6 plus H3 minus H2. The turbine work is this one, H1 minus H2 plus H3 minus H4. And the pump work is this one. This is pump work is as usual. This is the difference of these two is equal to the integration of VDP between the pressure P1 and P4 or P1 and P3, whatever this pressure is there. So the net work done is equal to WT minus WP. So H1 minus H2 plus H3 minus H4 minus H6 minus H5. So however, in comparison, the pump work is very small and it will be neglected. So the Q out is equal to H4 minus H5. Q out is equal to H4 minus H5. So therefore, the efficiency is the W net by Q in or 1 minus Q out by Qn. So 1 minus H4 minus H5 by H1 plus H6. Sorry, H1 minus H6 plus H3 minus H2. So this is the equation of the Rankine efficiency using reheat. So the Rankine efficiency using reheat is this particular equation. So another important aspect is there here, reheat factor. What is this reheat factor is, see when the steam is a very high temperature and it is flowing through the turbine, there will be some friction in between different molecules or particles of the steam. Okay, so there is internal friction is also there and friction between the parts and the steam is also there. So this friction will be consuming some amount of enthalpy of the steam to maintain the flow. So the steam has to flow. So during the flow, some amount of enthalpy will be consumed to overcome the friction. So that is why the process is not isentropic. Ideally, the process should be isentropic. Isentropic process means it's a frictionless process and also heat transfer is not there. But here, because of the friction, some heat is getting wasted, the enthalpy is getting wasted. Okay, so this is what so what is happening? When the steam is expanded in the turbine, there exists some friction in the steam flow and some enthalpy is getting utilized to overcome the friction of the steam flow. Therefore, the kinetic energy is less than the isentropic enthalpy drop. What is this statement? See, kinetic energy is less than the isentropic enthalpy drop. Typically, see, these are the three or four stages are there. This stage 1, P1 to P2, P2 to P3, stage 2, P3 to P4, another stage. So if you are considering the different stages and if you are considering only one single stage, okay, so this is the isentropic process. So 1, 5s is the isentropic process. But what is happening here is 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the actual process. And why this is happening? Because there is some irreversibility in that. There is some irreversibility means there is a friction. It is a non-isentropic process. This is the isentropic process and this is the non-isentropic process. Why it is happening? Because some enthalpy will be dropped or decreased in overcoming the friction. So at the end of the expansion, we are supposed to get from the work equivalent to 1 to 2s. For example, if you are considering only one stage, the corresponding turbine work should be 1 to 2s. But instead of 1 to 2s, we are getting only 1 to 2. This is because the non-isentropic nature of the process. So whatever is the actual enthalpy drop is there, that actual enthalpy drop is less than the isentropic enthalpy drop. This is the point you have to understand. Okay, so actual enthalpy drop is less than the isentropic enthalpy drop, right? So, but what is happening? The friction is also causing some heating of the steam. Because of the friction between the steam and the different parts of the turbine, there will be some heat generated. So always whenever there is friction, there is some heat generated. Okay, so this heat sometimes may increase the enthalpy, or the steam is also get overheated. See, there are two important aspects you have to understand here. One is the actual enthalpy drop is less than the isentropic enthalpy drop. That means the work will be decreased. The net amount of work will be decreased. And another one is during the expansion, because of the friction, there may be some increase in the heat energy of the steam. So the steam also may become dry and also may become superheated also due to friction. So this frictional heating results in increase in entropy. This is the important point. Frictional heating, it results in increase in entropy. Okay, so always the entropy should be kept as minimum as possible. If there is increase in entropy, that means that there is increase in non-usable energy. There is energy, but it is not useful. What is the meaning of entropy? Means it is the energy which is not useful or irreversible. It is the indication of entropy, is the indication of irreversible energy. We cannot get that one. Okay, so there is the frictional heating will result in increase in the entropy. Okay, so this reheat factor is defined as, so suppose if you take only one stage, the stage efficiency is H1 minus H2. This already we have seen what is the isentropic efficiency of the turbine. H1 minus H2 by, this is the actual enthalpy drop. This is the actual enthalpy drop. This is the actual enthalpy drop. And this is the isentropic enthalpy drop. Okay, so this is the stage efficiency, actual enthalpy drop divided by isentropic enthalpy drop. From this one, you can write a H2 is equal to H1 minus N efficiency of stage 1 into H1 minus H2S. This is just rearranging the terms. Okay, and similarly, you can write for stage 2 also. Stage 2 also H2 minus H3 is efficiency of stage 2 into isentropic enthalpy drop of stage 2. And this is H3 minus H4 means actual enthalpy drop of stage 3. This is the efficiency of stage 3 into isentropic enthalpy drop. So this is like that. So total, what is the total cumulative enthalpy drop? This one is equal to H1 minus H2S plus H2 minus H3S plus H3 minus H4. So what is this one? This is nothing but this drop, this drop, this drop. That means 3 isentropic enthalpy drops. 3, the H cumulative. H cumulative means total 3 isentropic enthalpy drops. See, if you are taking a direct expansion from 1 to 5, this is the isentropic enthalpy drop. But if you are taking stage wise, this is one isentropic enthalpy drop, this is one other isentropic enthalpy drop, and this is another one. So if you add these three enthalpy drops, this is equal to H cumulative. H cumulative is the enthalpy, isentropic enthalpy drop of each individual stages. If you take each individual stages enthalpy drop and add them, then you will get the H cumulative. And 1 to 5s is direct without any stages. One single stage only you are directly taking. So the ratio of a cumulative enthalpy drop to the isentropic enthalpy drop from initial pressure to final pressure, this is important thing you have to understand, is called reheat factor. Reheat factor means, what is reheating? Reheating means because of reheating the steam in different stages, what is happening? What is the effect of reheating? So that we are trying to understand. Okay, so the reheat factor is equal to the ratio of cumulative enthalpy drop of to the isentropic enthalpy drop of initial pressure to final pressure. So this is H cumulative. That means the sum of all the three individual enthalpy drops divided by enthalpy drop of from the expanding steam from boiler pressure to final pressure in single stage. Okay, so this is the, you have to remember, this is always greater than 1. So this reheat factor is increasing the enthalpy drop, effective enthalpy drop of individual stages. Okay, so that means you understand the statement correctly. What reheat factor is, what is the significance of reheat factor means, by reheating the steam in multiple stages, the cumulative isentropic enthalpy drop is greater than the isentropic enthalpy drop of single stage. If you are expanding in single stage, whatever isentropic enthalpy drop is there, that is less than cumulative enthalpy drop of individual stages. So the isentropic enthalpy drop is getting increased because of multiple stages. So this is called the reheat factor. So it is more than 1. Reheat factor is greater than 1. So the value of reheat factor is always greater than unity, and its effect is to increase the final enthalpy drop through frictional heating. Because of frictional heating, the actual enthalpy, final enthalpy drop, whatever is there, it will be more than the theoretical enthalpy drop. So the turbine efficiency slightly improves in the same ratio. So in actual, the turbine efficiency is equal to the stage efficiency multiplied by reheat factor. Reheat factor means maybe 1.05 or something like that. So whatever stage efficiency is there, stage efficiency means this one, individual one stage. Okay, for this stage, this is the actual enthalpy drop and this is the isentropic enthalpy drop. So stage 1 efficiency is equal to actual enthalpy drop H1 minus H2 divided by isentropic enthalpy drop H1 minus H2 S. S means isentropic. Okay, so this is the H1 minus H2 by H1 minus H2 S. Okay, so this is the stage efficiency. This is the stage efficiency. So this will be less actually. This is a theoretically it should be less. Without reheat factor means this should be little less. But because of reheat factor, the actual turbine will efficiency will be slightly more. Okay, so this stage efficiency multiplied by this particular quantity will give you the turbine efficiency in the case of reheat Rankine cycle. This is the important point you have to understand, right? So what is the effect of reheating is, there will be some frictional heating, and because of the frictional heating, there will be some increase in the final enthalpy drop, right? So because of that, the actual efficiency of the turbine may be slightly more. Okay, so the turbine efficiency will be equal to the stage efficiency into reheat factor. Reheat factor is always greater than 1. Okay. So we'll see the supercritical Rankine cycle in another session.